Welcome to the Wellness Surge podcast with Dr. Adiola Oke. Each week, we discuss our wellness journey with real people like you and me. We have conversations about food, fitness, mental health, financial wellness, and much more, so you can get back to the real you. To make sure that you're up to date with this and other wellness topics, visit wellnesssurge.com. Information presented here is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. Please do not apply any of the information presented here without first speaking with your primary care provider. Now, let's head on to the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wellness Surge podcast. I am your hostess. My name is Dr. Adiola Oke. Today, we have Dr. Fawzia Mai Tung with us today, and we'll be talking about the health benefits of gardening, simple ways to get started. Alrighty, Dr. Fawzia is a retired psychiatrist, a journalist, and an educator. She has tons of experience under her belt, and I would just know that she's so passionate about gardening, and I wanted her to come here to discuss her experience with this. And why am I really interested about gardening, and why should you be too, right? Well, part of staying healthy has to do with eating nutritious foods to make your immune system balanced and make it be able to work well for you, right? But you know, as the world is changing and access to healthy, nutritious food is really like starting to be on the decline, especially because if you think about the coronavirus situation, when we had to stay at home for a little while, and most of us were too scared to go out to go and get healthy food, well, guess what? A lot of us gained a lot of weight. Well, me, for an example, I did because I didn't have access to like good vegetables and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what? Let's learn about gardening so that we can empower ourselves and do ourselves a favor to better our immune system and also better the world. So if this should ever happen to us again, we won't be in a situation where we don't have healthy, nutritious food. Alrighty, Dr. Fawzia Tung, thank you so much for your time and talking to us today. So can you just tell us a little bit about your gardening journey?
When I was young, if you told me I had a gardening journey, I would have laughed in your face because I was well known to have two brown thumbs. My mom told me I had too much fire in my Chinese astrological chart, which is why I killed everything I tried to grow. A friend gave me a cactus and I managed to kill it. So I never thought I would do anything like this. But by the time I got married and had my first child, and I was trying to teach him lots of things when he was young, 1 year, 1 year and a half. By 1 year and a half, he knew 150 animals names by sight, but he couldn't tell a single plant from another one. And I was thinking, what's wrong with this child? And then I realized there was nothing wrong with him, only with me. We sort of, show through our attitude, our words, our tone of voice, whether we like something or not, whether we're passionate about it or not. And obviously, I was not passionate about plants, and he picked on that. So he felt like, wow, this is not something interesting. So I decided to change that. And I said, I'm going to start gardening. But knowing that I would kill everything, I didn't want to spend money on buying anything. So I only got plants, compost, and I got started. So I tried to put some orange pips, and I tried to put other things from the kitchen, what I'd read about in a newspaper, like cut the top of your carrots, the bottom of your green onions, and so on. So I did that. And to my great surprise, they grew in an apartment on the windowsill. That was the beginning of my journey. The orange pips actually took much longer. By the time I was done with the whole gardening activity for my kid, and I was trying to pour out all the soil, I screamed that I thought I saw some worms. It wasn't a worm. It was the orange pip that started growing its roots, and its root was like white and a little bit squirmy looking. So I thought it was a worm, but it wasn't. And I realized at that point, that was my very first lesson. Grasses don't grow at the same rate as trees. So yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Wow.
And here I am today talking about gardening.
Yeah, I also always thought that I could not plant anything. Like I had a little plant in my next to my windowsill, and I killed the plant. So I always thought, I can't do this. And I actually just started getting my hands a little dirty. And one day I put the plant in the soil, and I put water. I'm like, it's growing, and I was really excited. So I have not done so much of it because I don't feel I don't feel like I know how to do it really well. And so that's why I would like us to learn about all this. So first and foremost, right, this is all about wellness. Can you share like 3 health benefits of gardening?
Well, the first one is physical exercise. As you can see, this is early morning, and living in a very hot place like Arizona in the summer, if I could help it, I would stay home the whole time in the air condition, which, as you know, is really bad air. Out here with so much green, the air is all the toxins are filtered out, all the poison is taken out, and you have lots of oxygen. So fresh air is good for you. And so I'm out here in the early morning when it's not too hot, tending my garden, watering, and so on and so forth. Now, even if I do nothing but hosing, watering them, I find that on my phone that I walk on average 1,200 steps just walking around watering them. And if I were doing more, there's so much more exercise. For example, if you look at this tree here, this is an orange tree. And when I have to pick oranges in the winter, oh my God, you have to climb the tree. So climbing trees, hanging by the branches.
Climb a tree? You?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh
This
gosh.
is the thing. You keep young. Gardening keeps you young, okay? Yeah. I not only climb the tree, I climb the roof because I have all these pigeons, and I cannot bring myself to kill the pigeons. So I have lots of pigeons on the roof, and they poop a lot. So every few months, I have to climb on the roof and hose down all the poop.
Wow.
And they make wonderful fertilizer, may I tell you. The second benefit, of course, is actually physical. You get to eat really, really healthy food. Apples. These are desert apples. Here are almonds, waiting to be picked. Not quite yet ready, but coming there. For great organic food all year round. Here are, for example, we are now end of May, going into June. We have a lot of grapes.
So this is all good, right? Okay, so what if somebody wanted to start?
Put it simply, there are 2 ways to start a plant. One is through seeds. So seeds is sexual reproduction. And then you have asexual reproduction, means that you take a clone of the original parent plant and grow it. And that is the most sure way of getting it done. So you are sure that you're going to get something exactly like the parent. And though I was teaching biology and of course botany at the time, and I got a lot of my early startup knowledge from my botany academic knowledge, but I realized very quickly that there was a lot of hands-on things that you need to learn. So if you plant, say, the bottom of your green onion, you're really allowing the green onion to reroot itself and then to grow the same leaves of the same plant. In other words, you're just cloning the plant over and over and over again. And you can do that with a lot of things in your fridge and a lot of things in your pantry, onions, potatoes, and grows like crazy over here. So you can always be sure to have a good crop. So that's what I'm taking you to the next area where I have prepared some stuff that you can do.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Before we go there, if you have a garden, before you learn about types of soil and all those things, the simplest way is not to bother about your type of soil. So this is what I did here. You can do a raised bed. A raised bed means toiling, dig, and do it. So this, for example, is a raised bed. So this is a really big one that was built out of concrete blocks. But then there are simpler ways of doing this. Here, for example, this one I highly recommend. This is from Home Depot. So they sell this kind of this little block.
I didn't see that. We didn't see what you were showing us.
Can you see it like that?
What is that?
So these are a block, and here I have 2 blocks. Okay, so 2 blocks, and then you buy a 2x6. Okay, and so I made it 2 levels high. You can start with just 1 level high. So I put a 2x6. You can put 2 of them, and just buy a lot of compost and fill it up, and that's it. You can make it as small or as large as you want. So, for example, you can have a 4-foot long.
Hold on. When you say compost, is that soil? What is that?
Yes, that is
So you want to
soil.
break it down to us for those of us that have no
Yeah.
clue.
So if you go to any gardening center, my favorite is always Home Depot because, believe it or not, they're even cheaper than nurseries. You go to a
Wow.
nursery and say, "Oh, how come it's more expensive than what I saw right there in Home Depot?" So it's bags of soil. So the soil is called compost because what they use to make it is to decompose organic material, wood, grass, or whatever it is. And once that decomposes, it turns into rich black soil. So you can buy all kinds of types and brands of compost in Home Depot. One of my favorite actually is mushroom compost. So now let's move back to that area where I'm going to show you how to plant something. So that was in a raised bed. Raised beds are very easy to do. And you can use anything. There are all kinds of places that sell you materials for raised beds. So you can do it out of wood, out of blocks, out of anything. But I found this one to be the easiest because if you're not good with a hammer and the nail, all you have to do is buy those blocks. They don't have a specific name. They're just called concrete blocks, but they are made in such a way that there are four slots on all four sides. And you just slide a piece of wood in that slot and you put one on each corner and you're done. All right. So here we are now. I have put together here stuff that you can use to start a garden, even in your own home. If you're in an apartment and you don't have any access to an actual garden. So here first we have a pot. Okay. Always make sure you have a dish under the pot because the pot must have a hole.
Okay, it's good to know.
Yeah, because the water needs to drain. You don't want to drown them in soggy soil and then they will end up just becoming extremely soggy, and then fungus will grow and then the roots will die. So you must have drainage at the bottom. But once you have drainage, you have water and soil all over your carpeting or your whatever, wherever you put it. So you need a dish under it. Okay, secondly, you need some compost. So like I said, the one I'm using right now is mushroom compost here. What to plant is simply here. I'm going to show you what I gathered. Stuff from the kitchen: potato, sweet potato, ginger, carrot, I already chopped off the top, onions, garlic, or the bottom of green onions. Like this. Yeah. So this is what you can do. These are straight from your kitchen, your fridge, or your pantry, and you don't need to spend extra money on these.
So you're telling me that I can plant something like garlic from my refrigerator?
Yes, just take out your garlic and plant it. And then you'll see garlic is amazing because we normally eat only the bulb of the garlic. Make sure that I can't see anything. Okay, I do. So, but you can actually eat also the greens. So when the garlic grows, you will see that it grows. They look a little bit like green onions, but they're flatter. And you can snip those, chop them up, put them in a salad, and it tastes excellent. So you start off by simply putting soil in the pot. For the beginner, just put soil. Put this compost here. Later on, if you do it in ground, I like to add some steer manure. So this is steer manure right here. Steer manure. And the reason
what type of manure is that?
Steer. That means the poop of a cow or a male cow. Steer
manure. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I like to mix that in just a little bit. So here I'm mixing maybe 2 handfuls of them into my compost because it's a ready-made fertilizer. Okay. So that will save me putting. I like to use organic fertilizer, not chemical ones, because one of the goals of gardening is actually to be helpful with the environment, be friendly with the environment. You don't want to destroy that. So this, for example, is the bottom of a green onion. Okay, all you have to do is chop it off.
Okay, we can see the onion.
Okay, chop it off, and just can you see that?
No, I can't see that part. Okay, now I see the
it
soil.
already has roots, so all you have to do is make a hole, stick it in, cover it with soil, and believe it or not, by tomorrow or after tomorrow, there'll be a bit of green coming up already.
So we cover it completely?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And then here
okay.
these are garlics, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Garlic clove, and you can simply stick it in and cover it, okay? If you want to remember where it is, you can leave it out, but that doesn't matter. You can just cover it. Okay, so you plant it in this side in. This is root side, this is top side, where the greens are going to grow, and here are where the roots are going to go. So you make a
Oh.
hole, stick it in, and that's it. Now, something bigger like an onion, you can either chop off the bottom or put the whole onion in. That works too. Or here's a carrot. For the carrot, you cut the top and you put it this way in. You put the bottom in because it's going to grow from here. And roots are going to grow from here. So you put it in like that. And then you can put a bit of ginger in, okay? Bury some ginger. And gingers are the same thing. All of these, and these you can either chop them in 2 or 3 pieces or put it directly, completely, all of it into the soil, and it will grow. So the entire plot I had of sweet potatoes over there were grown from one like this. And now it's got an entire 4x4, okay? Now, once you put everything in, all you have to do is water. So here we go, just water it slightly. Now, how to water, because planting is the easy part. Maintaining it and letting it grow is the hard part, which it took me ages to learn. The first thing to learn is how to water. Always water completely. So you have to water until you see the water coming up from the bottom, okay? So that you know that all the soil, all the entire soil has been completely soaked. Now, how often to water? With your naked finger. So here I'm wearing gloves, but you use your finger, and every day you can just stick it in. And if, well, right now it's completely soggy, but if you find the soil still moist within, like say 1 inch, then that means it doesn't need watering. If it is dry, the top layer, so here's my green onion, I just pulled it out. If the top layer is dry, then it's time to water again. Where to keep it? Well, if you're in an apartment, you don't want to keep it in a sunny area like a windowsill, because plants obviously are not going to grow without water. They need water to grow. So you do need water to grow plants. Eventually, depending on how much your plants need and what type of plants you are, you may decide to change the position. If it's, this is another whole topic, where to put the plant. So the important is to have some sun, okay? Because if you don't put it in the sun, it's going to grow really, really leggy and may not grow very healthily. And then there are many tips on how to make it more bushy and more healthy by you know, what they call either tipping or pinching or pruning or whatever it's called. And you can get a bushier plant, something that you want to eat. Usually they are not afraid of the sun. So keep them where there's sun. Now be careful. Sometimes you think, oh, I put it under my window. Actually, that's the spot with the least sun. Because if you look at your window, the sun comes in at an angle. It will not come overhead because you have a roof overhead. Sun's not come through the ceiling. So it's going to come at an angle, and you can watch the angle. The angle will go into your house, maybe at a table or something that's near that window, but not under. Right under the window is completely in shade. You know, it's complete shade, shadow. So under the window and right by the side of the window are very, very shady areas. You don't want to plant there. Move your pot either outside your window if you have a windowsill, something else or whatever you have that is close to the window, let's say a couple of feet away, okay? So not right under. Yeah, so any other questions?
All righty, that was a lot. So thank you. I never knew I could bring out, like go to the store, a regular store, buy garlic, buy onion, and just go to my garden and just plant. I thought I had to buy special plants to plant. Seriously, that's how naive and that's how ignorant I am. And I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from all this knowledge. So if I buy stuff, instead of me putting it in the trash, I can just go plant it in my backyard. So that's amazing.
Exactly.
So, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you were just talking a lot, saying a lot of things. It's the whole thing is about not getting frustrated, right? how is there any like any simple tip about not getting frustrated in this whole process of learning
Well,
to garden?
you have to remember, when you had your first child, if you have more than one, you will realize that your first child was an experiment. And you did what you thought was right, and you saw, oh, this works, oh, this doesn't work. And you ask your friends for advice, you ask your mom or your mother-in-law for advice. And that's exactly what you do in gardening. You can plant some things, some are going to grow well, some are not going to grow well. You have no idea what's wrong. You ask your friends, you ask people who've done it. Nowadays, you ask online. It's easy to start, just like having babies. You have a baby, that's it, you're a mom, you know? But then you start learning that, well, between being a mom and being a good mom, well, there's a big gulf, and then you learn, you take baby steps, and you learn how to do that. And half the time they will teach you. For example, I would say, oh, how come this grows well and that doesn't? Oh, the position is different. This one gets more sun, that one doesn't. Or
We've talked about a lot. Okay. And I know what I've learned from all this, but what is one thing that you want to make sure that people take away from this session today? Because this is just the beginning, right? This is, like I said,
right.
We all have to empower ourselves to be able to get healthy food when it's not made readily available to us in the stores. So what is one thing you want to make sure people take away from here today?
You can do it. Gardening, I mean, look at me. I was a brown thumb, double brown thumb, and here I am having a garden full of food year round. Year round, I have things in the winter, things in the summer, things in the fall that I can eat from my garden any time of the year. And right now, and every year I experiment on new plants. So I have banana trees now, and I'm going to see if I get to eat bananas this year. Oranges, of course, I've done oranges for years and years, ever since I came to Arizona. And oranges are a good thing to try because it's almost impossible to go wrong with oranges or lemons. There's almost, gardening is a no-fail thing. Yes, you will lose some plants, but you can plant more, okay? And like I said, don't waste money if you're a newbie. Don't waste money. Just start with whatever you've got in your kitchen, in your fridge, in your pantry, and you can start there. By the time you're good at raising a few plants, then go next, like seeding your own plant, for example, or buying a little tree or something. If you have a full yard, so after years of doing my little gardening on my little balcony and my windowsills, I moved here to Arizona. And the first couple of years, I lived with my mom-in-law in a place that had 80 acres. So all of a sudden, from an apartment, I went to 80 acres. I didn't know how to deal with it. Yeah, so like I said, I've done it on a big scale. I've done it on a small scale. And now I'm doing it on the scale that I can handle. And it's a joy. It's a joy. So that was the second wellness. The second health part is eating good organic food. And the third thing that you can benefit from it is actually mental health. I cannot tell how many times you get stressed out. You come out here, sit under your tree. So I make quite a number of seating areas in my garden that I have a hammock. I don't know if you can see the hammock here. So here's my hammock, right? I've got these painted chairs. I make them pleasant under the tree, right? You have seats. I make, here I have a chair that I made out of cement, and I painted I colored the cement. I call it my throne. So you go to one of the spots that you have, you sit there, you sip your favorite drink. For me, it would be Pepsi. I'm sorry. One thing I cannot get rid of. And tea, juice, whatever you want to sip. And then suddenly you feel at peace. You look at all of these and you see nature and you see God's great work on earth, and you realize that whatever you were stressing out about is really not important in a great scheme of things. And so the third benefit is mental health.
Okay. You said 3 benefits, and I got a 4th one, okay? One is, I know organic food is expensive. So if I can plant it in my backyard, then I don't need to pay so much money to go buy good food. So
financial health.
That's seriously, because I'm all about financial wellness balanced with mental and physical wellness. So if I can get it cheap in my backyard, please, I'm going to learn how to do it. So that's
Right.
what I learned from this. That's the
You
benefit.
know how much mint costs at the supermarket? You have a teeny tiny sprig and it's $5. Well, look at this. Can you see it?
Wow. Yes, I can see that.
That's mint that I put in about a couple of months ago, and it's already this much. So mint is another great grower in our hot weather. And I put mint in my tea, I put mint in my salad, I put mint, whatever you can put it in, I put it in.
And a good benefit of mint is it helps with digestion. So let's say you go pig out and you like, oh, I feel bloated. Mint helps with digestion, and it also makes you not feel so hungry. So that's a good benefit of mint. So I guess what I'm getting from all you're saying is this: when you just sit down in nature, you just relax. Just being in the forest kind of heals you. You like, even people like with cancer and other ailments, when they just go into the forest, it just heals them. And so that's what I'm getting from like your backyard garden. You're able to kind of achieve that. Even like the smell, like the aromatherapy, right? We get all these oils that are from plants, right? And they heal us, like vanilla and all that. And so that's what I'm getting, like the mental health part of it and the soothing and calming effects of all this plant and nature you're sitting in.
There is actually a fourth benefit, but I think we are going to have a separate episode on it, so I'm not going to mention it right now, but there's a fourth spiritual,
So this is all good. If we wanted to get a hold of you, like, because seriously, gardening is a journey, right? And to be able to better equip ourselves, we need advice. Is there a way we can get a hold of you outside of the show?
I have a blog and I have YouTube channel, but and I have a podcast. But the easiest way pretty much is to email me. So my email is F as in Frank, T as in Tom, C as in Charlie, M as in Mary, T as in Tom, number 5, number 3. So ftcnt53@gmail.com. And if you email me there and tell me that you've heard about me from this show, and ask me any gardening question, I will be ready to answer them.
Okay. Alrighty. So this is Dr. Fawzia, a retired psychiatrist, journalist, and educator. She was a brown thumb, and she now has a beautiful garden. If she can do it, I believe I can do it. I'm not going to sell myself short. I can totally do it. So because I couldn't plant anything for all the money you gave me, like it used to die. So, but I'm learning that it is possible. Alrighty, Dr. Fawzia, like she said, we're gonna invite her some other time to talk about another episode about spirituality and mental wellness through gardening. All right, so stay tuned for that, and I'll let you know when that is coming up. Dr. Fawzia, it was a pleasure having you on here today. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you all learned something today, right? Because I did. Have a good day now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Join our Wellness Search Facebook community so that you can implement what we learned together. I am because you are. Thank you for listening and sharing your precious time with us. If you enjoyed the show, then follow us and subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, or any app that carries podcasts. Have an awesome week. Best wishes to see you thrive.